Dahr Jamail, your piece in Truth Out is called BP's Scheme to Swindle the Small People. What is that scheme?
Right. Well, the scheme is, let's be really clear, Amy. We all know that context for news reporting is key. And Kenneth Feinberg, who is the Obama-appointed individual in charge of this $20 billion compensation fund for victims of the BP oil disaster, who is he being paid by? He is being paid by BP to do this job. When he was asked recently, just in the last 48 hours, how much he's being paid, he said, that's between me and British Petroleum. So let's start right there. And then to move forward, this story came up because I was talking with Clint Guidry, who I just mentioned, and he was, like all the other fishermen, outraged by how this fund is being handled. And how it's being handled is that these people who joined this so-called Vessels of Opportunity program, which are basically fishermen who are now completely put out of work. The shrimping and the fishing industry in Louisiana, and this is spreading across the coast along with the oil as it travels across the coast, is completely shut down. So these people are forced in to do this work, going out skimming, putting out oil boom, other types of recovery efforts for BP, because it's literally the only way they can make a living now. And so Feinberg then recently announces last Friday, as you reported, that no, actually now all the money that you're earning, you folks in the Vessels for Opportunity program, any future compensation claims that you make, this money will be deducted from that claim. And so upon further investigation, it turns out there's a lawyer in Louisiana named Stephen Herman, and his firm back on May 2nd had an email correspondence with a law firm representing BP, and he questioned this very thing because it had first come up way back at the beginning of this disaster when people were going and looking into joining the Vessels for Opportunity program, but before they could join, they were going to be asked to sign a waiver. Well, this was, of course, then brought, Stephen Herman brought this to the attention of the BP lawyer, questioned it, challenged it, and then the BP lawyer wrote back and said that that is not going to happen. We're going to tear up those claims. We're not going to do that. Stephen Herman also questioned the BP's lawyer as to this very thing that we just saw Feinberg do, which was, I want to make very clear, said Herman, that any of this work, any of the payment for the work these folks do will not later be taken out of claims that they may make for future compensation for loss of livelihood, et cetera. And he was told at that time in a response on May 3rd by BP's lawyer, absolutely that will not happen. That is BP's stated position. And so then we have Feinberg come out Monday and every day since then acting as basically a BP salesman trying to push this new agenda that you have to file your claim within a year, and then once you do that, you will get paid and you will not file any further claims. And then, of course, any work that you've done in this Vessels for Opportunity program, any of that money will be deducted from any future claims. So this directly contradicts what BP said to Stephen Herman's law firm in New Orleans back on May 3rd. And again, we have Kenneth Feinberg running around clearly accountable to BP, clearly working in the interests of BP, and as he's being accused by Clint Guidry and basically fishermen up and down the Gulf Coast at this point in the Vessels for Opportunity program, is that this is a guy who's doing nothing but working to try to limit BP's long-term liability for this disaster.
Dahr Jamail, we want to thank you very much for being with us. Independent journalist. His latest piece in Truth Out is called BP's Scheme to Swindle the Small People. Special thanks to WEDU, PBS in Tampa, Florida, where he is speaking to us from, and Hugh Kaufman, Senior Policy Analyst at the EPA's Office of Solid Waste and Emergency Response, for joining us from Washington, D.C. Of course, we will continue to cover the fallout of the spill in the Gulf of Mexico. This is Democracy Now! Stay with us.
River outraged.